Let's make some guacamole, huh? Look, guacamole is great. Taking avocados and finding a way to kind of spice them up, make them different, is a great way to ensure that you're getting those avocado fats every day. You don't have to just eat an avocado on the half shell, kind of like these are fixed. So today we're going to focus on some avocado some guacamole making using some fresh avocados. Now we're going to make enough that it lasts a couple days. Guacamole does have a shelf life, all right? It does have like a 2 or 3 day shelf life. I'm going to show you how to make it last the longest it possibly can. Easy ways to do it. As well, we're going to throw in some vegetables that we can dip into our guacamole, like some broccoli and some green beans. We're going to have some cheese on the side, a little bit of dried meats. We're going to have hard-boiled eggs for that extra protein and fat that we're so desiring. Jalapenos just a little bit later. We're not going to throw it in the guacamole just because some people don't like spicy food, so I try to maintain them outside of guacamole. That way when you're eating, you can pick up a jalapeno and have it with your guac. Totally fine. Garlic and onion powder, salt and pepper, a reliable bag of nuts. We've got to have nuts every day. Make sure you got some bowls set aside. It's so much easier to cook in the kitchen when you have something to throw something in, or when you're done with the food, you can throw it in a bowl. Always easy to put them back later, and make sure they're out and about and right in front of you. Got to have a cutter board. You got to have your utensils, your knife and your steel. So seeing as how we're not cooking today, we don't have anything that's going to take any longer on the stove, so we don't have to prep that part, which is easy, right? This is great. We can just spend more time here in front, don't have to worry about the oven behind us and cooking. So let's start with our guacamole, huh? Let's get that going. So let's set everything to the side that we don't need. We're not going to need our broccoli and our green beans right now. We'll come back to you. Here we go. Definitely have some bigger bowls for later. Hard-boiled eggs are going to get to you too. Jalapenos, you can take a hike. Cheese, we'll back to you. Let's start with guacamole. So here's the stuff we need for guacamole, right? Look how delicious. Already this looks delicious, right? Let's get into it. I already cut these a little while ago. I'm just going to kind of use them again. Starting to get avocado crazy here, so make sure they go somewhere. All right, let's get our chopping board set. Push everything out of the way. Again, everything doesn't have to be neat in your life. Just make sure you push them out of the way. Give you some room to cut. We'll start with avocados first. Always, always, always. Knife safety. Make sure your knife's nice and sharp. That way when you're cutting, you have to push really hard. Everything's easy. We'll take a couple strikes on that steel. Get fancy if you want. Just a couple, or hone that knife. Make it usable. All right. Let's get our avocados prepped. As always, keep your avocado on the board. Cut down into the avocado, all right? And then roll that avocado on the board so your knife's constantly in the same position, just like that. And this is what you get, a nice clean cut, all right? We'll just keep that like that for the time being. We're gonna keep your prep work nice and linear. You don't wanna cut something and then open it and then pull the seed out and then cut and open. What we wanna do is we wanna cut everything we can all at once. That makes sense. So we're gonna go ahead and run our avocados. Same thing, roll the knife, set it aside. Come back with the avocado, cut that, roll it. Yep, set it aside, cut that, roll, set it aside. You know, I have one extra. I think 5 avocados should be plenty for us. Remember, look, if you're eating, you should be eating 1 avocado a day at least. So this is enough at least for 5 days worth of guacamole. Okay, and then you add other stuff too, and guacamole becomes more filling. So this is really 2 people over 3 days worth of guacamole, right? Depending on how much guac you eat. So let's get into it. I have a little bit of a prep bowl here, just like I said. Let's start pulling these seeds out. Again, palm that avocado. Hold that knife nice and steady. Use the butt end of the knife. Sink it into that seed. Squeeze that bottom avocado and just give it a little bit of turn. Out it comes. Don't worry about that guy. Again, let's open up here. Pull that butt end. Hit it. Squeeze it. Pull it out. There we go. Turn. Squeeze. So easy that comes out. Don't go and stabbing at it. Don't go digging out with anything. You don't need a spoon. Just pop. Squeeze and turn. Here we go. So now we got ourselves a nice lot of avocados. Here, look at this. Oh my goodness. And look how delicious these look. I mean, you just know you're getting some nutritional value when you look at this profile of food we have. All these deep greens and bright, brilliant reds. They're fantastic. Good. I do need a spoon. Go ahead and grab that really quick. So to get our avocados out and ready, real simple, we just want to palm it again. I'm going to take our spoon, we're going to run it down the edge here, just like that. We're going to come in and just scoop underneath that avocado, scoop it out against the skin, and pop it out. Look at that. Hardly anything left there. Same thing all the way around. Again, I cut these earlier, no big deal. I'm just going to get in there and scoop it out. Hey, look, if you don't scoop it all out at once, you're messed. Okay, let's get in there and scoop it out. Make sure you get as much of it out as you can, though. Let's not waste any avocados. We'll eat these. Scoop it out. Ooh, I nailed that one. more avocados. I should invest in avocado farms. I eat so much avocados. And look, my body, my complexion, everything's gotten better. And it really has been the addition of these avocados. Eating these kind of high-fat foods that are healthy for you is really this secret to maintaining the body composition that you want. You know, we go into the gym and we see people working out and we're like, okay, well, they're working out, so that's got to be the secret to their formula. But really, it's the food that we're eating. You can lighten up on the workouts a little bit as long as your food is correct. And high-fat diet is the way to go. It lets your body go into a natural state of ketosis, and you can start burning fat out of your body anytime you want, using fat as a fuel source. Look at that. That was pretty easy, right? Got a little messy on that one. I'm gonna run my hands. Usually I have my trusty towel here. I just wipe my hands off. Look, grab yourself a towel. Always keep it on you. Throw it over your back. Always have it handy. It's great for pulling things out. It's good for wiping your hands off really quick. We're just gonna use that. I'm gonna rinse real quick. All right. So, we're here. I think we're gonna need a fork, a little mash a little bit, but let me grab that too. All right. So now that we're here, look, we have to add these other components, but we want to give this a nice mash. So the last thing you want to do is chop everything up into a bowl and then mash it together. Then you start mashing your tomatoes and you'll mash your peppers and everything will get mashed up. So we want to take a second to kind of mash this part. I already have a lime cut up. Let me cut a lime for you guys, just to show how to cut it. Now, when you have a lime, hold it, pull your fingers back, use your knuckles as the knife barrier, cut the ends of your limes off, okay? This will allow you to squeeze it better later. So go ahead and cut those off, throw those in the little trash thing. There's a core to limes. This is what makes it hard to squeeze. So go ahead and cut the edges of it and leave that core by itself. See, these are so easy, they have no core in the middle. So they're gonna be easy to squeeze. And then we're gonna cut that core out of the middle and we're gonna get rid of that. That's the hardest part of a lemon. You can even, it's even hard to squeeze now. We wanna put a little bit of lime when we're mashing this at first, okay? So we're gonna squeeze this. Let me squeeze as much lime as we want. Look, I get liberal with my lime and guacamole, and I only get great reviews from it. So don't be scared of some lime for your guac. Plus, you know, we're gonna put a lot more components in here, so this bowl's gonna fill it fast. Now, see, this is the perfect time to use my towel. I'm gonna wipe my towel real quick, just like that. Now we're gonna use garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper as our base flavors in here. So we're gonna go ahead and add that. Look, I'm not gonna use a spoon or a measuring device. I'm just gonna kind of use my eyeball, because if you start off gently with your seasonings, you can always come back and add more. So don't worry about getting it correct. Just go ahead and add a little bit, a reasonable amount, and then come back and taste later. Just like that. Look where we are. It's so beautiful. I could eat it like this. So let's get into mashing, all right? You just take a fork. If you got a masher, that's even better. I have one, but for those of you that don't have a masher, like a potato masher, pull it out for you real quick. This is great for avocado. This is a potato masher, but a lot of people don't have it, so we're just gonna stick with the fork. Not to mention, you know, you can leave your guacamole a little bit chunky. It doesn't have to be perfect. So let's go ahead and find a way to pull these avocados to the side of the bowl and use the fork to smash it against the sides, okay? Smashing in the middle is kind of hard because there's nothing to press against. So just gonna pull it to the side here, just like that. Pull this from the side. Now see, we got a good mash going already. And we just had a couple of rounds of forks, no big deal. It doesn't have to be super fine, all right? Guacamole is supposed to be super fine. It's supposed to have a little chunk to it, so you get big chunks of your avocado and lime and tomato and cilantro all kind of in there. All right, let's pull it off that sidewall and put it back into the middle. And just kind of give it a couple more little smushes. Have some fun, smush it. Already, look what we got. I wish you guys could smell it, because I'm smelling the beginnings of a fantastic guacamole. All right, great. It is good. I better rinse my hands. If you guys aren't watching though, I wouldn't even worry about rinsing them. I just lick my hands. Okay, let's get into it. What do we got next? So some of the bigger components to chop, I always do onions last because they kind of make me cry, you know? So we're gonna set that for last. We're gonna do our pepper in the middle. You know what, we'll do pepper now. So there's a couple ways you can do peppers. You can cut it down the front here and then pull the remnants out. You can cut it down the side and pull the remnants out. The deal is, I'll do that on the side so you guys can see. So, with peppers, the hottest part of peppers and the ones you don't want to eat are these seeds in the inside. So when you cut it down the side, you really just want to pull the insides out. Put your thumb over the top right here. Just pull. Pull that core right out, just like that. Real simple. Same thing here. Let's get our finger on our core at the top. Let's just pull that right out. Real easy. All right, don't worry about getting every last seed out. Don't worry about rinsing it, getting it perfect. This is just where we want to be. Trusty knife ready to go. So when we're cutting, as always, let's keep our knife in the same place, okay? Let's push whatever food we're chopping into the knife's area, just like this, okay? That's how you want. You can go as slow as you need to make it right. Push it to the side, same thing. We'll hold it here. We'll rock that knife. We'll just push it in. Good. Now see how linear that's cut? We're just gonna turn it around the other way. Keep our knife in the same place and then push that back into it, just like that right there. Just push that food right into the knife's area, keeping your hands far away from it, keeping your knife in the exact same place, just like that. Cut faster if you can. If not, that's fine. Now we got a nice pile. It's gonna be a little hard to manage, but the same thing goes. Keep your knife in the same place. Push that pile together and then start rocking and push that into the knife's edge. Just like that, keeping you nice and safe. Pushing the components you want to cut under the knife's edge, just like that. Here we go. Maybe one more time around. Some falls off the chopping board, that is fine. Look, your counter's clean, just pick it back up, throw it in the bowl, you'll be fine. Oh my goodness, see, here we are, nice. So, that's it. Let's throw those peppers in the guacamole. Here we go, that's our next step. Now let's put some tomatoes in our mix here. Tomatoes are funny. Guacamole can take can go awry a bit if you don't do your tomatoes right. These are Roma tomatoes. I love Roma tomatoes. They're great and juicy. They use a lot of these for sauces, for like spaghetti sauces. So for this, what we want to do is we want to cut the tomatoes right down the middle, just like this, just to start off. Again, let's do as many of the same common cuts as we can and set them aside. So we're cutting down right down the middle. Perfect. All right. Now, at this point, we want to get rid of this part right here, the stem top. We just want to cut those off. We'll set them to the side. Same thing here. We'll cut that. Again, see how the process goes, where I'm doing all the same movement at the same time? This is the linearity of cooking. This is the assembly line of cooking, if you will. Just like that. Get them all this tops off. We'll get everything prepped. So now we have topless, halved tomatoes. Let's get rid of this too into our little bowl. All right, two more steps in the tomatoes. Let's cut them down the middle one more time. So we're quartering them. So let's quarter them all one more time. Again, if you can go faster, great. I want to keep this pace nice and even, so you can follow me at home, which is the important part. So we're quartering all of this, right? Now, as I'm quartering this, I think you can see these tomatoes are nice and juicy in the middle. The problem is if we just continue to chop them like this, it's going to get watery really fast. So what we want to do is we want to go a step further with these, and we want to take out this watery part. To do it, we want to take our knife and we want to make sure it's horizontal or parallel with the countertop. We want to sink the knife into the tomato just a little bit until we get it right here, and we flatten that tomato out and run down the edge of this tomato and just pull that right out. That's what we want in our guacamole. This will make it liquidy. It'll ruin the guacamole. So you just want to kind of get rid of that. We'll throw it to the side for right now. So we'll bring that piece in, come down the side, pull that off. Remember, get your fingers out of the way. When you're holding it, don't hold it like this. Just barely hold the top of that tomato, okay? Because when you push the knife down, it'll keep it on the chopping board without your help. You don't need to be holding it the entire time. And that's the trick, right? To keep your fingers nice and safe. Same thing here. Here we go. So hopefully you get faster as you do this. Really easy. Come in, pull that top off. Good. See, I got a little bit left in here. That's okay. Doesn't have to be that perfect. Just get the majority of that liquid and seed out. That's what we're going after. Good. Whoops. Don't worry about that guy. He got a little away from me, didn't he? Okay. We're gonna have lots of tomatoes. I'm gonna talk about tomatoes really quick. Tomatoes are actually a fruit, and we're gonna steer away from fruit as much as possible when we're eating a ketogenic diet. tomatoes get a pass for some reason as a vegetable, when really they are a fruit, and they are not only a fruit, they have a lot of fructose in them, like comparative to an apple. So when we're trying to steer away from sugars like that, we want to make sure that we're not using a lot of tomatoes. But you know what? No guacamole is going to be complete without tomatoes. And you're not going to eat a lot of them. The amount of tomatoes that you're eating in respect to the amount of guacamole you're making is pretty low. So I think we're going to be safe. All right, look, we've carved out, look how much delicious tomato. Look, they even look better. They're so bright red. So we just take these and set these aside, right? We're done. We're done with you. Oh, you almost escaped. You did not. You're not getting away that fast. Okay, good. So now we're about ready to do our last dice on this bad boy. So let's line up these tomatoes. Just kind of get them in a general profile area. Maybe a couple stacks. Here we go. That's nice. So I'm not gonna get crazy with it. I like to have chunky tomatoes in my guacamole. So, you know, we have to dice these really well. Again, knife at a certain location, right? In your chopping board. Push your food into your knife area, all right? When you're cutting tomatoes, cut them with the softer side up. These skins can be tough to cut, especially if your knife's not very sharp, especially when you're chopping and we're not sawing, we're chopping here. So we're gonna make sure we keep them upright. Go ahead and run through them a little bit. You don't have to make them perfect the first round, okay? Let's just get them chopped up a little bit. Same thing on these, we'll bring them over, find our chopping area. We'll chop, we'll put these in, we'll just shove them in under the knife's cutting area. Just like that. Again, look, they're not perfect, are they? You know, they're not perfectly chopped, but that's okay. We just want our first round. Again, we'll pull them back in, we'll give them another couple chops. But we'll keep these on the side, keep our knife area. It doesn't have to be the same area. Push them in. Push them in. There we go. All right, we got a good chop on these tomatoes so far. Not bad. This is probably the longest part of this, but that's okay. So again, we made a pile of this. We're gonna keep our knife in the same place. We're gonna push our tomatoes in. At this point, you know, you might have skins up, skins down. You really don't know. That's okay. We just want to make sure we get skins down as much as possible when we're chopping tomatoes, just to make sure they don't get all squishy on us. Speed this up a little bit. Tell me this doesn't look beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh yes. I think I've just about had enough chop here. You don't want to get too much because they'll start to get liquidy again because you're smushing them. But this should be enough. Okay. Yeah. So I like a lot of tomatoes in my guac. So let's go ahead and put those in there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Always onions last, right? So let's get our cilantro in here. The trick to cilantro is you don't want to chop down the spine because there's lots of stem in here we don't want. So we want to just kind of cut the edges. We'll cut the top off here. We'll cut an edge. We'll roll it. We'll cut an edge. We'll roll it. Cut that edge. That's how you get, see, and then that's the usable part. There's a little bit of leaf left. Most of it's used. So I think we're good here. Cilantro bruise is easy. So you don't want to have a lot of chop to it. So again, hold your knife in the same place. Push that cilantro under the edge. Give it a chop. Ball it up and push it back in. Yes. Yes. Good. All right, cilantro, done been did. Great. That's good. Last component for this bad boy is gonna be some onion. Now I saved this for last because, you know, I might start crying and it's nothing personal, but we wanna make sure that we have our onion last. So, again, as always, pull your knuckles back. What we wanna do is cut the tops off of this. Did you know that most of this part that makes you cry from this onion comes from the tops themselves? So chop those off first, set them aside, turn them over if you can, or put them in a bowl and sink them far away from you. Oh, next step we want to do is we want to take the first layer of this onion off. So just chop down this edge here, all right? And when you peel away, you peel that first layer away. This is really the usable onion portion. I like a lot of onion in my guacamole too, not gonna lie. Now, we've got a good prepped onion, okay? What we want to do is cut it one more time. Well, you know what? Let's cut it this way. We'll show you how to do it this way. Let's cut it right in half. Turn them over once again just to make sure it doesn't seep out. At this portion, what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of different knife tricks here to get the most chop ability out of this onion. We're going to keep your knife parallel to the counter. We're going to slide it in almost to the end and then stop. And then come back and move up about a 1/4 inch. Slide it in, come back. Come back to the top, slide it in, come back. Now, we want to cut downwards on it, the other direction. So we cut this way, and we're going to go this way, and not cut all the way through. Cut right to the very tip. Cut right there. Okay. So now what's going on here is we're pre-cutting it and keeping it in its form, right? So it's not scattered everywhere. We pretty much cut it so that when we do, by the way, rock in the same place, keep my fingers away, when we do push it in and start chopping it, it is pretty much already diced to a nice style. And we didn't have to lose the consistency of the onion. So that's the trick to cutting onion. Again, keeping your fingers away. Once you get to this part right here, we didn't really chop that much into it, so we're gonna need to kind of cut that a little separately. Just turn it over, keep your knife the same, chop it in like this, just to finish that last little bit off. Now at this point, you really don't have to cut the onion again. It is barely chopped up. Again, you don't want big onion bits in your guacamole. It'll bite if you do that. So I think that's probably enough onion. Let's do that. Good, good, good. All right, nice. So now we've got everything in the bowl. We'll give it a quick mix to see where we landed on it. Now the reason that we're doing so much avocados and so much vegetables is to make sure that days from now, when we go after our guacamole, we still have plenty to eat. You know, these recipes are all about fixing the most food that you can in the shortest amount of time, but still having it be very, very, very healthy, a fat-centric diet, fat-adapted diet. Very, very important for us. That's what we're gonna do here. Oh my goodness. This is one hella good looking guacamole. Put a little more lime in there. Now look, you should be taste testing your food. I've done this a lot, so I know where my tastes lie. But as you're doing it, you go through it, you taste it, and you say, needs a little more salt, needs a little more garlic powder. That is up to you. That's your personal taste. Let me give it a taste real quick. You know, it does need a little more flavoring. So let's do it again. Pepper, salt, a little onion powder, garlic powder. I'll give it, oh, how'd that get out? Mix it in there real quick. Now look, I said earlier that guacamole has a shelf life. If you ever had guacamole in the refrigerator, you notice it turns brown pretty quick. All avocados do. It's because it's oxidizing. What we want to do to keep it from oxidizing, we want to create a nice smooth layer on this guac, okay? Just like this. This is when we're storing it. When we're about to eat it, don't worry about it. When you're storing in the refrigerator, do this. Next step is take one of these limes that you've been using and squirt it over the top. It's going to create an acid layer over the top of this guacamole that's going to keep air from getting to it and thus oxidizing. You already got lime in here. Might as well use it as a sort of preservative. Kind of run it around like that. That's going to stay just nicely. That's our guacamole, right? That was easy. Now we're going to buffer a little bit, right? We want to add some other stuff to it. Let's make a slight circuito. Let's do one place. Just charcuterie real quick. You know, I'm gonna give my board a quick rinse. How's your board doing over there? Just to start clean. Not gonna clean up too much, not gonna worry about it. All right, cheese. You gotta have some cheese. Cheese is a great source of fats and proteins. Get the right cheese though. Look, there are two separate cheese aisles in the grocery store. There's one that's fancy cheese, if you will. And there's ones that have the shredded cheese, like the Mexican cheese. All the cheeses in that Mexican cheese section are probably not real cheese. They're probably spun up lipids of some kind, spun up vegetable oils. Make sure you get a real cheese, maybe a real milk. Not ones that says contain milk, but that's 100% milk of some kind, goat or cow or whatever you like. All right, cutting cheese is simple. We want to keep it on the board. We want to use a finger on this side and your hand on this side, and we want to keep a nice steady cut all the way down, just like that. No matter what shape your cheese is, you can find an edge that you can set up on the board and cut down into the cheese. And I know this seems a little bit redundant and banal, but I see people cut cheese and they really kind of go astray and they don't know how to cut it, and they're like, well, how do I cut cheese? Just like this, guys. Make it real simple for yourself. When you start getting down to the end, we're gonna set it on its side, just so, because right now it's a little bit wobbly, it's hard to cut, right? So we get done about right here. We'll set it down, we'll give it one more quick cut down the side. Great. Now that we've cut it long ways, want to cut it into more manageable portions for people, right? If you want to get a little fancy, cut it on the side. Just go ahead and make an angle cut. Get that little fancy cut, why not? We're in the fancy mode today. That's gonna be step one of our charcuterie. Some cured meats. Again, just kind of give these a little bit of a bunch like that, you know, bunch and fan. That way when people go to dig in, they're not trying to separate them by hand. They're right there, right? Broccoli, as always, cut that butt off. Scoop in the inside of your broccoli, right? We'll scoop out that portion, and when you let go, the florets just kind of fall. That's how you get a nice broccoli cut. Same thing here, we'll scoop out the inside, we'll let the florets fall, just like that. Boom. Perfect. Now, I'm gonna add a couple eggs to this, but we're already looking really, really hearty on our meal. Looking really good. We got a little onion left over too for later, that's perfect. Looks like our lime didn't get used, we can use this too. Hard-boiled eggs, I boiled these earlier. They're really simple. We're just gonna take 10 minutes to boil some eggs. The real trick is, how do I get the peel off? So, take your egg, smash the top, smash the bottom. Already the shell almost shatters. Roll it again, and it's gonna loosen that shell up nice, okay? Then you'll be able to pull it off, real simple and clean. Hard-boiled eggs are such a great thing to add to any meal you're after. Even if you're just having some chicken, some rotisserie chicken, maybe throw a couple eggs in there. Eggs have the best uptake possible for human beings. We use eggs very, very well in our bodies. It's probably the mix of proteins and fats that come already inside of an egg. So, you know, don't shy away from eggs. Eggs are fantastic for you. That one didn't peel so well, did it? That's all right. I ain't worried about it. Boom. You're going to my charcuterie board. There you go. Same thing here. Peel the top and the bottom. Oh boy. Hey, but look. Don't forget your salt and pepper, all right? Everyone needs a little salt and pepper. Mm-hmm. Come on, egg. Me and you. Good enough. Good. Whoa. This looks good. All right, let's put a little salt and pepper on our eggs. Why not? It's okay if someone gets on the cured meats. All right. So, we got our stuff here. Now, at this point, we got a little bit of a mess to clean up. I don't need this. This is the important part, guys. Look, make sure your kitchen is clean when you leave. You've got everything that you cut in this bowl, so it's not just hanging out on the side. You don't have to walk to the trash can a million times. But you know, make sure you have this. This is the secret to making a reasonable go in the kitchen, is having this. So we'll just go ahead and throw all of our stuff away. Come on and do a quick clean. Let's see what it looks like. Here we go. Throw these in the sink. Give these a quick clean. Make sure your countertop's nice and clean when you're done. It's so nice to walk back in your kitchen after you fix a nice meal and be like, oh, nothing to clean in here. I'm so good at stuff. Here we go. Let's clean our dishes real quick. Bypass that dishwasher, guys. Wash them yourselves. I'm gonna keep this for a minute in case I don't eat all the meat. Set your knife off to the side. Components you were cleaning, give those a quick rinse. Again, look, this isn't a nuclear disaster. It doesn't need to be cleaned thoroughly that much. You're just gonna wipe them down. There we go. I'm showing you this because a lot of if you watch people cook on TV, you know, they're cooking and then all of a sudden like, oh, I'm done and I got 30,000 dishes. And like, how am I supposed to do this in my house? I don't even have 30,000 dishes. We're gonna cook in a real way here, okay? We're gonna make sure that everything makes sense, we can repeat it, anyone can do it. So look, here's a bunch of guacamole. This kind of food should be able to last you a long time, be delicious to make. We'll throw some jalapenos on there for those people who like a little jalapeno in their guacamole, but not everyone does. So we don't insult them with having it all in our guacamole. Just like that. Now that is a delicious, delicious looking meal. And it's gonna be done over multiple days. You can have, they don't eat it all at once. This guacamole is gonna take 2 people a number of days to do it. But you know, it's delicious. It's easy to fix. It doesn't take any cooking and you're ready to go. Enjoy.